Now we're on now. I think most of you have joined the other sessions. I'm seeing a lot of familiar names and faces. So maybe, yeah, we can just continue on with the text. Okay? Yes, you can do this. Thank you. All right. So we're on this stanza, right? Having trained my mind in the common path in that way, I will not be upset even if I have to experience the sufferings of samsara for a long time. However, please bless me to look at sentient beings with extraordinary, unbearable compassion and to enter the quick path of the Vajrayana teachings. Then, please bless me to protect my vows and samayas more than my life and to accomplish quickly accomplish the unified Vajradhara state in one brief lifetime of this degenerate time. Okay, so this Lamrim prayer that we have at the beginning of this compilation by Lama Zopa Rinpoche, it has already gone through the various stages of the Lamrim as explained by the three capable beings. So we've already done the path shared with the lower capable being, the path shared with the middle capable being, and then the graduated path of the great capable being, okay? So now within that, there is this further kind of subset of extraordinary bodhicitta that is needed for the practice of the Vajrayana teachings, okay? So here, what it's saying, having trained my mind in the common path in that way, okay? So like it says in the Foundation of All Good Qualities, by Lama Tsongkhapa, right? Once I've trained my mind in the general path, please bless me to enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, the supreme Vajra vehicle. So here, what the common path is, then is the three principles of the path. Renunciation, or the thought wishing to, we can say, also definite emergence. So the thought that aspires to definitely emerge from the oceans of samsaric suffering. And then bodhicitta, the altruistic wish to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. And then the right view, the correct view of emptiness, okay? So those three are the very foundation of the Vajrayana path, okay? So Lama Zopa Rinpoche, he often emphasizes that the Vajrayana is a subset of the Mahayana. So it shouldn't be seen as different, okay? And so having trained my mind in the common path in that way, right, which is referring to all the trainings that were already mentioned in this text, then I will not be upset if I have to experience the sufferings of samsara for a long time, okay? So here, you see, when we, or when a practitioner sees the goal or the end state of enlightenment and see how beneficial it is, how that would then enable them to work for the benefit and welfare of all sentient beings in the best way, then because that goal they see as essential for what they really want to accomplish, and again, what they really want to accomplish is to benefit sentient beings, right? So enlightenment is just a means to an end, but is not an end in and of itself, right? So seeing then the great benefit of achieving enlightenment, then it's like, whatever it takes, whatever they have to endure, whatever they have to, suffer, whatever they have to practice, then, it'd be no problem from their side to undergo that kind of, suffering or hardships and so forth, right? However, please bless me to look at sentient beings with extraordinary, unbearable compassion and to enter the quick path of the Vajrayana teachings. Okay, so here an example that I often give, right? Then if, for example, we saw our mother, someone very dear to us, get bitten by a snake, right? And they're experiencing a lot of suffering. We see them, on the floor, crying out in pain. We would want to get the antidote for them, as quickly as possible. And even if the only place where that particular antidote to the poison venom was 50 miles away, right? We would go running as fast as we could to get that antidote. But you see, then we would consider, okay, 50 miles there, 50 miles back. Okay, I'm not sure I can even do that. But even if I could, by running, that would take me, oh man, probably days if I'm able to do it. Okay, so with that thought, see, from your side, even enduring that hardship, nearly having to drop dead due to exhaustion, because you care about your mother so much, you from your side would be willing to do it. But considering that every moment that is going by, there is this tremendous suffering being experienced by your mother, you would then seek another mode of transportation or another means by which you could go pick up the antidote and return and administer it to your mother as quickly as possible. You understand? So in the same way, the bodhisattvas, like as it says in the Lama Zopa, even if I have to remain for an ocean of eons in the hells, the fires of Vici, for even just one sentient being, may I, with a mind unwavering, willingly take it up and continue to strive with perseverance. You understand? Right. So then these bodhisattvas, from their side, no problem to undergo hardship. But with this extraordinary, unbearable compassion, seeing that every moment that goes by, when they're not enlightened, then they're not able to do their best to liberate sentient beings from suffering. And therefore, every second that goes by, here's another way to think about it. So, the very day you become enlightened, then that very day you'll liberate countless sentient beings from samsara, and you'll establish countless sentient beings even on the Mahayana path. And you'll also be able to teach countless sentient beings, to be free from the sufferings of the lower realms, on the very first day, right? So then, you could imagine that if you had the opportunity to achieve enlightenment today, right? But instead you somehow, take a break. I don't know what you guys do. Catch up on your latest Netflix show, right? And you don't get enlightened today, and instead you get enlightened even tomorrow, okay? Then all the sentient beings that you would have liberated had you been enlightened today, right? Even that 24-hour period until you're enlightened tomorrow, all that suffering in a very real sense is completely unnecessary. And it's completely because, you didn't endeavor hard enough, right, to achieve enlightenment as quickly as possible, right? So even this thought that, oh, my enlightenment would be even one day delayed, right? every day that then goes by when they're not enlightened seems so unbearable, they then seek out another means to achieve enlightenment more quickly than the common sort of. And here's some terminology. There you'll see there's we talked about the Vajrayana, okay. So there's the Paramitayana throughout this, right? So just like a vehicle takes someone from their current location to a particular destination, when we talk about the Mahayana, some people talk about the Hinayana, we have the Pratyeka we have all these various vehicles, right? So in the same kind of similar way, those vehicles then take a particular practitioner to the destination, right? The Mahayana takes a practitioner to the destination of complete enlightenment. The Pratyeka takes that person to the state of Pratyeka Buddha, and the Shravakayana takes that practitioner to the state of Shravaka Arhat. Yes? Okay. So here now, remember I was saying the Vajrayana should be known as part of the Mahayana. Okay. So the difference in the vehicle, right, between Paramitayana and Vajrayana isn't in the destination, but it's in the speed, right? So it's like the Paramitayana is like I don't know, what do you guys have? Suzuki, okay, yeah, and the Vajrayana is like a jet, okay, right? A lot faster. I don't even want to say Lamborghini. It's not even like just a faster car. It's like a totally different mode of transport. Okay. So now, why is it so quick? Okay. This is a big topic, but just for now, what you need to know when we talk about Vajrayana, okay. So in general, this word Vajra, it has a few different connotations. When we talk in the Vajrakutta Sutra, okay, in the context of the Vajrakutta Sutra, the Vajra means the direct realization of emptiness, because in general, right, the Vajra is something very hard. You'll see it sometimes translated as diamond, because the diamond is the hardest sort of stone. Sometimes you'll hear Vajra translated as thunderbolt, because it is said that Indra, one of the gods in the pantheon, is able to throw these kind of Vajra thunderbolts, as a means to destroy things. Okay, but here, in the context of the Vajrayana teachings, it does have a connotation of being indestructible, but maybe suffice it to say now that the unique part of the Vajrayana teaching is that there is a union of the method side, Bodhicitta, right, and the wisdom side, the wisdom realizing emptiness. So those two minds, which by the way are the two main causes for enlightenment, right? Remember we were talking about the two accumulations of merit and transcendental wisdom, right? Merit then is the primary cause of the form body of the Buddha, or the Rupakaya, and the accumulation of transcendental wisdom is the main cause of the Dharmakaya, or the omniscient mind of the Buddha. Okay, so remember, was it you guys I was talking about this? But remember we were saying a unique element of the Buddha's mind is that in one mind, the Buddha can directly realize both the truth and the ultimate truth, okay, directly, one mind, right? Whereas even Arya Bodhisattvas, okay, when they are in meditative equipoise on emptiness, the only thing that appears directly to their mind is the ultimate truth. In other words, emptiness, right? So the conventional truth, tables, chairs, mangoes, those don't appear to the mind of a bodhisattva in meditative equipoise. When she then gets up from the meditative equipoise on emptiness, then emptiness no longer directly appears to the mind, because everything then is appearing as truly existent, right? So the mangoes and chairs that appear, they're appearing as being truly existent. You understand? So in that way, you see, the normal way of practicing on the paramita path is in meditative equipoise on emptiness. Then you're accumulating the accumulation of transcendental wisdom. But at that time, you see, you're not thinking about bodhicitta. You're solely focused on emptiness, right? And then when you get up from the meditative equipoise, then you meditate on bodhicitta, you're practicing generosity, you're practicing the other paramitas. But you're alternating between the method side, right, and the wisdom side. You understand? Okay. So now the unique feature of the Vajrayana is, well, this again has a lot of nuances, but suffice it to say, like when Lama Tsongkhapa talks in the great stages of Tantra, you know, he has the Lamrim Chenmo, he also has a text called the Ngakrim Chenmo. So the great stages of Tantra. There he says that the distinguishing characteristic of the Vajrayana is the practice of Deity Yoga. Deity Yoga. And so some of you who have taken initiation before, you'll know a little bit about it. But basically, again, after having trained the mind in the general path, right, then one takes initiation, and then one is able to engage in this practice of Deity Yoga, whereby conjoined with this mind of bodhicitta, one then first purifies all the deceptive appearances into emptiness, and then, well, suffice it to say, you kind of imagine that your mind that realizes emptiness the Buddha, you, be it Avalokiteshvara, Manjushri, Tara, you know, whoever it is, okay? So then, at that time, when you then have kind of arisen as a deity, right? So you're no longer identifying, you're no longer labeling your I on these impure aggregates, right? But you purify into emptiness, you kind of then build up this image of a pure form of the Buddha, right? And then you label your I on that idealized Buddha figure. You understand? But you, at that point, you're visualizing on the body, and then as many of you know and practice, then from the heart of your self-visualizes Avalokiteshvara, you know, you'll radiate light rays, you're imagining purifying all sentient beings and so forth, right? So basically you're performing the activities of the Buddha, right? Of the Buddha you'll become. So the visualization of yourself as the deity then becomes the method side. Yes? Okay. But while this Buddha figure is appearing, you have the recognition that it is empty of inherent existence. Okay? So in that way, you're also practicing the wisdom side, the wisdom of realizing emptiness. So in short, that's just a rough kind of explanation, but that is how, through the practice of deity yoga, one can practice both the method side and the wisdom side in one mind, right? And yeah, that is the main reason why then the Vajrayana path is quicker. Okay. There are other things, especially when we start to talk about the higher tantras. Yeah, Alexander, I see you smiling. I'm going to get a question about this at the end if I don't talk about it now. So maybe let's just say that there's also other techniques whereby in the Paramitayana, one is using a sort of, basic mind, kind of the mind that we have now, which is quite gross, right? But we have kind of more and more subtle levels of consciousness. You can just imagine, the waking consciousness versus the consciousness when we are in dream state versus the consciousness when we're in deep dreamless sleep, right? So we have these different levels of consciousness, right? And there are other practices that we can engage in that will then help to manifest these more subtle levels of consciousness. And then we can use those subtle levels of consciousness to then meditate on emptiness. Because, the more subtle the mind is, then if we are able to use it to meditate on emptiness, the more powerful it will become, and therefore it also form a greater antidote to the afflictions. Okay? All right. Okay, then please bless me to protect my vows and samayas more than my life. Okay, so as I mentioned, the gateway to the Vajrayana teachings is to take an initiation. Okay, and when one takes an initiation, then at the very least, one takes Bodhisattva vows. And then in the higher tantras, one also takes the Tantric Valves. Okay, so it is said that please bless me to protect my vows and samayas more than my life, because you see these vows that we take, they're tremendously powerful. So that it's how do you say, on the good side and the bad side, as many of you know, right, there's these different levels of vows one can take. There's the lay vows, pratimoksha vows, right? So the pratimoksha vows in general, pratimoksha, individual liberation. So there's actually 8 kinds of individual liberation vows, and among them is the 5 lay vows, right? Then you also have monastic vows. All of those vows then are, they're considered pratimoksha vows because the kind of fundamental motivation for taking them is to achieve liberation for oneself alone. Okay. Now, of course, you Mahayana practitioners can also take the lay vows or monastic vows with a mind of bodhicitta, but that is, like bonus. That's not strictly needed. One can take them just with a mind aspiring for liberation from samsara. Now, the Bodhisattva vows, you need to have at least a contrived motivation of bodhicitta to take them. And many of you have taken them already. And I hope some of you are taking them again and again in the morning and evening, okay? So once you take the Bodhisattva vows, you can and should actually retake them just by, visualizing in the space in front of you the Buddhas and, generating the motivation and then reciting the various words in the ceremony, right? Okay, so then we have the Tantric Vows as well, which also one needs to take with the special kind of bodhicitta that is very seeing this unbearable state that ascending beings are still suffering and therefore wanting to enter the quick path. Okay, so now the benefits of taking these three types of vows, it's like, well, normally they talk about it in the negative sense, but it's the same in the positive sense, right? So one of the root vows of the pratimoksha, even the lay vow, is not to kill a human being, okay? But as bad as that is, you can imagine, right, how bad it is, then to break a bodhisattva vow is 100,000 times worse than breaking a root pratimoksha vow. You understand? Yes. Okay. Then one of the tantric vows is actually 100,000 times worse than breaking a bodhisattva vow. Okay. So then the flip side, of course, is if you are able to hold these vows. Remember, I mentioned this this stanza from the Samadhi Raja Sutra, where compared to offering garlands of lamps, victory banners, precious parasols, and so forth, to many quadrillion Buddhas, right, numberless as the grains of sand in the Ganges River, for countless billion zillion eons, right? The merit of taking one vow, keeping one vow in this degenerate time when the Buddha's teachings are ceasing, is far greater. You understand? Yes. Okay. So here, then you can imagine, then to keep a bodhisattva vow or even a tantric vow is so much more, greater merit than that. That is actually said in the commentaries that if one takes the Vajrayana vows, okay, the tantric vows, but let's say you're very busy, you're helping your mom, you're doing the cooking and cleaning in the house, you don't have time for meditation practice, right? But if you take the tantric vows and just keep them well and without breaking them, you will achieve enlightenment within 16 lifetimes at the very latest. You understand? Okay. You understand? Yes. Even you don't do any meditation in that life, all you do is keep your tantric vows at the very maximum, 16 lifetimes you'll get enlightened. Do you understand? Whereas as a means of comparison, those practicing the paramitayana, right, then usually takes 3 countless great eons to achieve enlightenment. Okay? All right. So then, seeing the very benefit of keeping the vows and the drawback of not keeping them, then, yes, we ask, please bless me to protect these vows and pledges like my own life. Okay? Which then becomes the basis to quickly accomplish the unified Vajradhara state in one brief lifetime of this degenerate time. Okay, so many of you also know, we were talking about in the Paramitayana how it usually takes 3 countless great eons to achieve enlightenment. Okay, so then in the Vajrayana, because it's the quick path, then, you know, we have these four classes of Tantra. And in the lower three classes, then one can achieve enlightenment in one lifetime. Okay? One lifetime. But how that is done, one achieves the state of kind of immortality, one can say, where you extend your life for basically as long as you need. And, you know, you can live for many, you know, thousands of years, no problem, okay? So now here, when we say one brief lifetime of this degenerate time, that is when one practices the highest yoga tantra, okay, where there it is emphasized those practices that I alluded to, where we manifest the more subtle levels of mind. So then by doing that, one can achieve enlightenment in one brief lifetime of this degenerate age, okay? And who is that? That's us. We're in the degenerate age. We have a brief lifetime, you know, maybe 100 years, right? Whereas, as we mentioned when we were talking about the, I think the 9-point death meditation, there are continents where there are humans. There's a fixed lifespan. Some of them live 1,000 years. Some of them live 1,500 years, and so forth. So here on this planet, we're in the degenerate time, and we have a lifespan of about 100 years. So by practicing highest yoga tantra, one can achieve enlightenment in this body. Okay. I wasn't able to mute quick enough. Okay. Okay, so this is the graduated path of the mantra vehicle, secret mantra vehicle of the greatest capable being. I will wait 1 second here. Okay. We're playing peekaboo. Okay. So, yeah, we're now done with that that Lamrim glance meditation by Doje Chang Losang Jimpa. Only took 6 sessions. So now we're on this next part. These Lama Zopa Rinpoche included. So it says, recite the following verses and meditate on the Guru entering your heart. May I not give rise to heresy for even a second of the glorious Guru. Of this devotion, may I receive the Guru's blessings in my heart. All right. So we talk about this in the very beginning of the text, where it talks about following the Guru in terms of pure thought and pure action. Okay. So following the Guru or relying on the Guru in pure thought basically is just this, to see everything that is done by the Guru, all the actions of body and speech are actually the actions of all the, okay? And therefore, you know, it's scolding us, or whether it's praising us, whether it's you know, ignoring us, or inviting us to his room for, I don't know, popcorn and Coca-Cola, whatever you want, right? Whatever the Guru is doing, if we're practicing this well, then we see all of these actions as skillful means of the Guru to lead us to enlightenment as quickly as possible. Okay. So as we mentioned the other week, right? So even when the Guru ignores us or provokes us, it's a means to see, our mind freak out, and then to show us the level of self-cherishing that is still running rampant. Okay. On the other hand, when the guru praises us, then usually it would be because we've done something good. We've followed the guru's instructions. So we see all of the actions, be they good or bad, whether we like them or not, we use it along our path to enlightenment. Okay? And therefore, what is talked about here, heresy would be thinking anything less than that. Thinking that, the guru, has mistakes. So Rinpoche has mentioned many times in these teachings, I think it's a quotation by the fifth Dalai Lama, where any that is reflective of our mind, right? So then when we have this impure appearance from the side of the guru, and remember, impure appearance means that the guru would be showing mistakes, then what we have to train in is to then think that, okay, it's not because that he or she, rather it's due to my own impure karma that I have these appearances. Okay. Yikes. So don't worry, I'm not sick. There's just a little bit of an allergy I'm having. Okay, hold on. Okay. You understand? All right. So therefore, we're able to see whatever actions are done as pure. And then with this devotion, may I receive the Guru's blessings in my heart. Okay. So I think, did I mention those 4 outlines in the in the palm of your hand, whereby I regard the Guru as a Buddha? No. Okay. So yeah, the essence these 4 outlines: liberation of the palm of your hand, Guru devotions, a Guru as the Buddha. Normal 4 of Shakyamuni Buddha. So when Shakyamuni Buddha gave the Vajrayana teachings, he would manifest in the form of Vajradhara. Okay. All right. So Vajradhara said that in the future, he would appear in the guise or in the form of an ordinary being. Okay. And then that the Guru is the kind of enactor or the performer of the deeds of the Buddha, is to consider how, for the benefit of, to consider that our appearances are untrustworthy. You understand? But when Rinpoche gives this teaching, he recommends that we switch the order a bit and instead consider the last outline first, that our appearances are untrustworthy and deceptive. Okay. So yeah. maybe, yeah, okay, I'll talk about that just a little bit, right? But can I just direct you also, last year in Vajrayogini Institute, I gave a few review talks during the retreat that Lama Zopa Rinpoche was given. And I spoke about these 4 outlines in a great level of detail. Look those up on YouTube. They're there. IVY, Institute Vajrayogini, and I talked about this in some detail. But for now, I'll just say the kind of brief. In brief, you see, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas who have generated this mind of Bodhicitta, taking the responsibility to liberate all sentient beings, right? Then, even after they've achieved enlightenment, then, it's not like they ever stop, right? Like it says in Shantideva, for as long as space remains, for as long as sentient beings remain, until then man too remain to dispel the miseries of the world, okay? So even after one becomes enlightened, then until samsara is empty, then the enlightened beings will manifest countless manifestations spontaneously and effortlessly according to the needs of disciples, okay? So although Shakyamuni Buddha manifested the aspect of taking parinirvana or passing away into parinirvana in Kushinagara at the end of his life, then, that too was just a display. And actually, it's not the case that, the mind of Shakyamuni Buddha then ceased to exist, right? But rather just kind of re-emerged into the ultimate expanse of the Dharmakaya, okay? So in this way, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are, even today, even after Shakyamuni Buddha, manifested passing away into parinirvana, they're going to make good on their pledge that they took to work for sentient beings until the end of samsara. And so they're definitely doing that, okay? All right, so then how are the Buddhas helping sentient beings? In whatever way they can. So also in Shantideva, there are these verses that we'll come to in a little bit, where Shantideva prays that, for all those who wish to cross the river, may it be a boat, may it be a bridge, may it be the medicine, may it be bedding, all these different things, right? So in general, the Buddhas can manifest even in these inanimate objects to benefit sentient beings, okay? But as it is said, that among all of the activities of the Buddha, then the supreme one is their activity of teaching the Dharma. Because as we mentioned, that, the root of all of our suffering is this mistaken mind, clinging, grasping onto true existence. Suffering, we need to get rid of the root cause of suffering, this distorted mind. And how we do that is by discovering the truth of reality, the truth of emptiness. And how we realize emptiness, we have to engage on the teachings that create emptiness. And so this view of emptiness, right, was the kind of unique discovery and unique teaching of the Buddha. Okay, so then when we understand this, that, I mean, even in Lama Tsongkhapa's praise of dependent origination, he says that, you know, of all the activities of the Buddha, then the activity of teaching is supreme. And then of all of the teachings, the one teaching dependent origination, right, is the supreme of all teachings. And so the ones who praise the Buddha for teaching dependent origination, then, you know, that is how we should praise the Buddha. Yes? So then, understanding this, when we now look and say, okay, yeah, the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are definitely helping me, guiding me to enlightenment, okay? We come to that conclusion. And then we look in our lives and say, all right, who actually is helping? And then it's our gurus. It's only Lama Zopa Rinpoche, right? Who else can we point to that is doing that? Okay. So then using, you know, these two sides, you know, it comes together, right? On the one hand, we conclude that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas are still working for my benefit. And then on the other hand, we see that the one who is benefiting me in the way that the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas would is my guru. Okay. And therefore, you know, putting two and two together, we come to the conclusion. Therefore, you know, my guru is definitely the Buddha. Okay. Then Rinpoche and other teachers who will teach this. This is the real essence, actually, of the guru yoga practice. Then sometimes we have to debate with ourselves and say, wait a minute, are they really the Buddha? Like, if that were the case, then why are they showing me this impure aspect? Then we have the last outline that our impure appearances are not trustworthy. Okay. So in short, remember, everything that appears to us appears to be truly existent. So according to the Prasangika Madhyamika system, all of our sense consciousnesses are mistaken because how things appear is not at all how they exist. Okay. So in a similar way, just because you know, the Dalai Lama is appearing to us in a certain way, that doesn't necessarily mean that is you know, reliable testimony. You know, when the Dalai Lama says, "I don't know," right? That doesn't mean it doesn't know, right? Okay. So anyway, those are the four outlines by which we come to the conclusion that our guru is the Buddha. Okay, but that's a huge topic. So maybe we'll leave it at that for now, but I definitely encourage you to, you know, follow up and magnificent and precious Guru, please abide on the Lord's seat in my heart, guide me with great kindness and grant me the realizations of your holy body, speech, and mind. Okay. So here, those of you who know then how to meditate on the Guru entering your heart, one does that. If you don't know, then maybe you can just do like this. You imagine that the Guru enters into your central channel, right? So the central channel kind of one end point is here where the you know, where the third eye is, right? So you envision that the Guru enters your central channel and then enters your heart. The heart being the place where the subtlemost mind resides. Okay. And you think that, you know, your mind and your subtlemost mind and the Guru's, okay? which actually is what happens when one achieves enlightenment, right? Remember we were talking about the rivers all going to the ocean, right? Yes? Okay. You know, they're still kind of winding down. They're all separate, but once they reach the ocean, then the ocean is just one kind of body of water that's undifferentiated. You can't then say that, oh, this part of water was from the I don't know, Danube, this was from the Seine or whatever, right? All the water is mixed. So similarly, this is the kind of thought that all of the Dharmakaya, all the minds of the Buddhas then become, one. And therefore, when you become Buddha, your mind and the Guru's mind will also become one. Okay. All right. So now, this next verse from Kyabje Lama Zopa 8 verses of thought transformation. Determined to obtain the greatest possible benefit from all sentient beings who are more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, I shall hold them most dear at all times. Okay. So here, this is the real essence of what we need to practice. All right. Now, I've been saying this now for a few years, but in the Tibetan, it says, Dani Semchen Tamche La, Yishin Nobu Le La Be. Okay. So Semchen is sentient being, right? And then this La, okay, it has a few different meanings within Tibetan. But see here, it's saying from all sentient beings. But in my opinion, this La could also be interpreted as meaning for all sentient beings. Okay, and both work. Okay, so determined to obtain the greatest possible benefit from all sentient beings. Okay, who are more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, I shall hold them most dear at all times, or for all sentient beings. All right. So now, what is the greatest possible benefit? The state of enlightenment. All right. So remember, we were saying, why do we need to achieve enlightenment? Is so that we can be of utmost benefit for sentient beings, right? That's the whole point. Remember, enlightenment is just a means to an end. The end is to benefit sentient beings. So therefore, if we're really determined to be of the greatest possible benefit for sentient beings, okay, then what do we have to do? Achieve enlightenment. And therefore, what do we have to do? We have to cherish all sentient beings, hold them most dear at all times by seeing them as, more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. Okay? But this other way of interpreting from all sentient beings, okay, then here we need to understand how our enlightenment is coming from or is dependent on all sentient beings. Okay. And also, are all sentient beings more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel? Okay. So those are two things we should, be thinking about when we reflect on this verse. Okay. So we talked about this a little bit when we were mentioning and exchanging self-others, right? This method for generating bodhicitta, where we reflect on the drawbacks of the self-cherishing mind, and we reflect on the good qualities and benefits of the mind that cherishes others. Oh man. Okay. Yes? Gesundheit. All right. So I think many of you know the wish-fulfilling jewel, right? Okay. At least conceptually, and again, you don't really have to, okay? Then it'll help you understand. So just like Aladdin's lamp, right? Aladdin's lamp, you rub, a genie comes out, you get anything you wish for, right? So these wish-fulfilling jewels are, these jewels, and in a similar way, you polish them, you put them on the top of the victory banner, and then you can kind of ask for, or you can pray for, any kind of like material possession. So when Rinpoche talks about the wish-fulfilling jewel, recently he starts to talk like, you can get as many, cars and as many swimming pools as you want. So, yeah, I don't know why you would want like, hundreds of thousands of swimming pools, but just for the sake of argument, yes, if you had a wish-fulfilling jewel, you could have, thousands of swimming pools. Okay. One is enough, okay? But anyway. All right. So you can imagine then how, precious someone. Okay. So now what it's saying here is that sentient beings are more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. Okay. So why is that? Here in the teachings on the benefits of cherishing sentient beings, then it is said that actually all of our happiness that we've ever received from beginningless samsaric time has come from sentient beings. Okay, so here we look on one level, on a kind of worldly level, right? That, for example, the food that we ate today, where'd that come from? It came from the various farmers. Then it had to be transported. It had to be, packaged. We had to get it. Then when we cooked it, we needed, electricity or gas that again came from, others' work and so forth. Our education that we received came from others. The house we live in, the clothes we wear, the every kind of enjoyment that we have has come from others. Okay? Yes? You can hear me? Okay. All right. So that's just in a very worldly way. Okay. Now, when we go a little bit more, okay. Now, how were we able to even enjoy lunch today? Okay. How are we able to have material resources? So as it is said in the law of karma, that resources come actually from giving. And so the main cause of us being able to enjoy wealth or resources is from the positive karma that we've accumulated in the past through making charity, through giving. And how then were we able to give in the past? We encountered a sentient being who was lacking in material resources in some way or another, and then we gave it to them. Okay? All right. So, yeah. How were we able to get this good human rebirth? Well, we practice pure morality in the past. And therefore, killing or lying, committing adultery, and so forth, that was also in relation to other sinning beings. Okay. All right. Now, then the question might come up that, wait a minute, some of my good fortune is actually coming from the Buddhas, right? And yes, that is true. But you see, how did the Buddhas come about? But the Buddhas came about, the Buddhas were just like us, right? We're just, ordinary sentient beings. But they cherished others, they generated compassion, they generated bodhicitta, they traversed the path, and therefore they achieved enlightenment. After they've achieved enlightenment, then they, taught us and, are guiding us, okay? So even the enlightenment of the Buddhas came from sentient beings, okay? So the very root of all of the happiness is the sentient beings, okay? You understand? So therefore, yes, all sentient beings are more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. Now, it's not only that, okay? The further kind of bonus contemplation that we should engage in is that each and every single sentient being, right, individually are more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. Do you understand? So yes, all sentient beings are more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel, but even one sentient being is more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. You understand? So here, hold on. When they talk in the context of practicing patience, right? Practicing patience in relation to someone who's maybe harmed us, who has disrespected us or did something we didn't like, and we have the kind of provocative situation where we're about to get angry, right? So we can think like this: if we leave out this one sentient being that has harmed us, and we no longer think that I'm going to work for this person's benefit, right? Then we no longer have all the sentient beings within our sphere of concern. If we don't have all sentient beings within the sphere of concern, then we don't have great compassion, which then extends to all sentient beings, right? Without great compassion, there's no bodhicitta. Without bodhicitta, there's no enlightenment. Do you understand? So in this case, this one sentient being who has provoked us, who has disrespected us, or whatever they did, then it's like, let's just say for the sake of argument, we had, compassion for all the sentient beings except this one, right? Then this is the one, actually, the last sentient being that's about to take us to all sentient beings. That's like the real gateway, Remember the gateway or the doorway that we need to enter through to get inside the house, right? So similarly, generating compassion for this one sentient being is the gateway for our bodhicitta and for our enlightenment. And therefore, this one is then actually the most precious of the precious. Do you see that? Okay. So then, what do we have to do? Hold them most dear at all times. Okay. Yeah. Just another quotation from Shantideva came to my mind right now. It's very nice, but Shantideva says that both our enlightenment comes from both sentient beings and the Buddhas. So why is it that we, only show respect to the Buddhas, but not sentient beings? What kind of thought is this? Okay. So seeing this, then we should be cherishing sentient beings as much as we cherish the Buddhas, right? And maybe even a little bit more. Okay. But for now, if we just say equal, that's pretty good. Okay. Let's try that one first. All right. May I become like a wish-fulfilling jewel, fulfilling all the wishes, and like a wish-granting tree, fulfilling all the hopes of transmigratory beings. Okay. So, this, last week, we got into a little bit of some of the debates about, when we encounter a beggar and we suspect that they might just use the money to get drunk, what do we do? Right? So I was thinking about, and something occurred to my mind. For example, my Guru Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and he's out at the Buddhanath Stupa, in Kathmandu, and there's beggars there. He's giving to all of the beggars, very respectfully, putting the note in both hands and, giving to all the beggars. And I've never heard Rinpoche say, you know what, I think this one might use the money to get drunk, I'm not going to give. Do you understand? So, although, right, when we look in the texts, if we are very kind of letter of the law, they talk about these, clear-cut examples. If someone asks for a gun, they say, I'm going to kill someone, can you give me a gun? I'm going to kill someone, give me poison, then we shouldn't do, right? But these other cases, this is my hypothesis. For us, our self-cherishing mind is very, very strong, okay? Oh, sorry, let's not say us, let's say me, okay? So for me, for example, the self-cherishing mind is very strong, okay? And so, to have the opportunity to apply the antidote to the self-cherishing mind again and again, I think is the practice that should be emphasized at this stage in the path, right? So if we're going to kind of make a mistake, then to sort of make a mistake on the side of, cherishing and giving more than we should, right? Because our natural tendency is to be Huh? Can you hear me? Okay. So then this stanza, I think, encapsulates that thought. May I become like a wish-granting jewel, fulfilling all the wishes, and like a wish-granting tree, fulfilling all the hopes of sentient beings. Okay. So I think this is the mind that we need to emphasize training, and especially to focus on generating this mind that is very happy to benefit others. Do you know what I mean? So not like, many times if people ask us a favor, right, we'll be like, okay, And it's like, you know, they've asked us, I don't know, to like, I don't know, carry them on our backs, like across the country. You know, it's like a huge chore. So instead of this like, all right, I'll do it, you know, like it's a huge burden on us, to instead have this mind that like, oh, wow, it was so amazing. You know, I mentioned many times this quotation that, you know, the Bodhisattva is on the first ground. There's 10 Bodhisattva grounds, right? 10 Bodhisattva levels. And the Bodhisattvas on the first ground, when they even hear the words, oh, can you give this? They generate more bliss in their mental continuum than a person who has achieved nirvana, individual liberation. You understand? Just by hearing, you know, can you give this to me, right? So it shows something very, very clear, right? These bodhisattvas who have totally, you know, given up the self-cherishing thought, and they're only thinking about how can I benefit others? How can I benefit others, right? They're actively seeking these opportunities to benefit others, right? And therefore, when someone comes to them and basically tells them, can you give this to me? They're so happy that they're now like, it's like the opportunity that they're looking for has fallen into their lap. You know what I mean? Right? It's like, I don't know. I don't know how good this is, an example this is, right? But sometimes, you know, if you're going shopping for a present for someone, you know, and you're like, oh man, I don't know, will they really like this? It's so much stress going shopping for people, right? Right? And that's, I think, why, you know, the kids, they give the list to Santa, right? So that the parents can know. Oh, sorry, is there someone who still believes in Santa on this call? Okay, anyway, so the parents can know then what gifts to give, because, you know, the kind of, you know, children, if they get something, you know, they really wanted something and they don't get it, they can cry all day, you know. I was like that. You know what I mean? So anyway, the point is, being like, thinking, okay, I'm going to now be a wish-fulfilling jewel for all the sentient beings that I encounter. And not only that, then when we're given the opportunity to fulfill a sentient being's wish, to be so happy that we're able to do so. Okay? So, oh, time is up. So open up for questions. But, you know, I'll just say one little story, and then we can open up for questions. So I think I mentioned that, you know, I learn a lot about how much benefit sentient beings give from watching nature shows, right? Yes? Okay. So the other thing that was so amazing to me, a couple of years ago, actually just last year, I had the opportunity to, you know, take care of some stray cats, okay? And one, okay, there's two stray cats, they're both female. And, well, I think one got pregnant at like 5 months. It was like, you know, really young. The local veterinarian, like they would only, you know, spay the cat at 6 months. And then at 5 months, she got pregnant. Okay, anyway, she then gave birth to a litter of kittens. And watching what this mother cat did for her kittens, just, you know, unbelievable, right? You know, picking them up in the mouth, carrying them here and there. And then most kind of, how do you say, emblazed on my mind is just how again and again she would just lay out her body and let these 5 kittens just, you know, suck milk, you know? So she was just like, okay, take it all. You know, I'm here for you, my kittens. You understand? So I think that image for me, then, you know, when we go out into the world, you know, that can be very helpful. Like, okay, anything you guys need, sending beans, okay, just take it. What do you think? We can try. Okay, so maybe that's it for today. Let's open it up for questions. Yes, Shanti.
Hello. Yes.
Talk to me.
Muted me. Hello. Hi. Yes, I wanted to know. So it was told by someone that we should meditate on Bodhicitta every day according to the 2 methods. One of the 2 methods on Bodhicitta. So once I asked Lama Zopa Rinpoche that we are doing this daily practices and all these sadhanas are there. But where do we actually meditate on the actual method of, say, exchanging self-fathers or the other one? So Rinpoche said, you know, these verses, what we're doing right now, the whole thing, it includes all that. He just said like that, you know. So, so is it reading too much into what Rinpoche's advice, or even then we
Sorry.
should...
Sorry, I missed your audio cut out for a second.
Yeah,
Yeah, what did Rinpoche say?
Rinpoche said that these verses that we are studying now, till the end of this practice, include the methods to generate bodhicitta. I guess the steps are all in there because you quote the various verses. Is it reading too much into what Rinpoche is saying, or even otherwise we should take time out to go through the steps in detail, or is just enough to go through these verses? I don't know. I guess we don't have time, it's okay, but should we at least dedicate a full practice to the steps again?
Shanti?
Yes,
Until you're Buddha, okay, then you should always, you know, seek to meditate on bodhicitta more and more, and never be satisfied with how much you're practicing bodhicitta, and never say, oh, my level of bodhicitta is enough. Okay, those words never should come out of a sentient being's mouth. Okay.
yes, I understand.
All right, but practically speaking, you know, it is true that even in the verse by Losang Jinpa, both methods. And then later in the next verse, actually, when we start the Shantideva verses, it'll have, we can meditate on you've all frozen. Okay. Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? All right. So what I was saying is the next verse, which we'll get to next week, it is, you know, a place where we can pause and do the Tonglen practice, okay? But actually, you know, in the advice for having taken the aspiring Bodhisattva vows, then one should, you know, upon recalling the benefits of bodhicitta, conjure it 6 times a day. Okay? Right? Can you hear me? All right. Now, that doesn't mean then, you cross off number 6 and say, I'm done for the day. Okay? And of course, as we mentioned, what we do outside of our meditation sessions is more important than what we do inside the meditation session. So what Rinpoche has often advised is when we go through our daily life, then we can do these kind of bodhicitta mindfulness practices, where when we encounter sentient beings, we would have the mindfulness, say, one day we can think, oh, that this person has been my mother countless times. This person has been my mother. This person has been my mother, right? And then we can also do, okay, this person is more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. We can kind of rotate through and make it real in relation to the various sentient beings that we meet on a day-to-day basis. Do you understand? And so in that way, we're sort of meditating means familiarizing with these concepts within the actual bodhicitta practice, right? But yeah, on the very kind of least in the formal practice, before you start like to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened, right? By my practice of giving and the perfections, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Without just mouthing that off, you can think in a more systematic way. Like we do at the beginning of Lama Chupa, there were those verses from Dorje, where you do a kind of scanning meditation. I have a precious human rebirth, but I'm going to die after I die, and then like, therefore I need to, achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all sentients. You can kind of build it out more slowly. You heard me? Okay. I think there was a question from Dilshad on the chat. What is devotion? Does it come by nature? How can I develop it? Yeah, so when we talk about the guru devotion practice, then that one I was talking about just now, where we see all of our guru's actions as pure by seeing the guru as the Buddha, right? Then that is the main sort of practice of guru devotion. Does it come naturally? No. How we develop it is the main method is the 4 step process that I mentioned, right? Where we come to see our guru as, the enactor of the Buddha's and Bodhisattvas activities. But, on top of that, we can also, in a very practical way, consider again and again all the kindness that our guru has bestowed upon us. So all the teachings that we've received, all of the, explanations we've gotten, all the instructions, all the care that our guru, then thinking about the direct kindness we have received also can help the devotion to arise. And then Shabir's question from last week is pending, but I don't know what that question is. Is Shabir here?
I think it's how to overcome irritation.
How to overcome what?
Overcome Irritation.
How to overcome
Irritation.
irritation.
Yes.
Irritation. Mm. So you're talking about mental irritation, right? Not like some skin rash, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay, I'm sorry, I'm joking. Yeah. So in general, this is all coming in the teachings on patience, right? It's a huge topic. So there's two things. There is what we do in the moment when we're getting irritated, and then there's what we do when we're not irritated to help, irritation not come up so strongly in the future. Okay. So what we do when we're actually irritated, or what we should do, is, although we have, and this is actually true with any kind of affliction, when it's already arisen in the mind, then our job is to, although it is in the mind, not let it provoke us or impel us to do something with our body and speech. You understand? So, though we're irritated, we don't, say a cutting remark. We don't, insult someone else. We just sit with the irritation and not act on it, right? How we do that is then by, focusing on how that irritation is manifesting in the body as physical sensations, rather than getting into the mental thinking and ruminating over what this person did to me that's so irritating. You understand? Okay. Now, the thing that we do outside of the meditation session, outside of the time when we're actually irritated, then there's a lot of different things that we need to do. So one is, I would invite you to kind of think about what are the kind of causes and conditions that lead to you being irritated. Okay, so we all have different triggers, whether it be, when we feel that, let's say, someone has disrespected us or someone isn't listening to us, right? That could be one set of things that irritate us. We could have, irritation at, I don't know, the bad traffic. Well, actually, there's not much traffic these days. But whatever it is, try to identify your triggers, okay? And then, for me, feeling when I feel disrespected, that does trigger me. So then it's a little bit of like, you then have to analyze and go into it a little bit more, okay? And the analysis that you can do is to say, okay, well, one, right? There's one saying, it was attributed to Napoleon, I think, but I'm not exactly sure. But it said, don't attribute to malice what can be explained by incompetence. Don't attribute to malice what can be explained by incompetence. Do you understand? So sometimes when we're taking things very personally, okay, it's like we think that they're doing this thing, because it's about me. you know, right? But most of the time, it's actually not about you. And to actually think that it's about you just shows how kind of inflated your own ego is, right? And so instead, when someone, you know, it'd be like, take a very simple example. You know, someone makes a mistake. Let's just say, okay, you know, you order a black coffee, right? And they bring a latte, right? Right? Okay. So if you take it personally, then you have all this story, right? It's a bit silly, but just hear me out. You have this whole story that, oh, why are they, you know, prejudiced against me? You know, they gave me this milk just to upset me. And you just have all this like runaway thoughts. You're taking it personally, right? Huh? So instead of attributing it to malice, or they had a kind of negative intention, to attribute it to incompetence, right, or ignorance. That, you know, it was an honest mistake. They didn't, you know, maybe they didn't hear the order. Maybe they wrote the wrong name on the cup. Whatever it is, you know, just to take it as an honest mistake, right? So, yeah, that's one kind of method. But Shibita, is Shibita even here? Doshat, I see you. I don't see Shibita.
No,
Huh?
she's not here, right?
She's not here. And I'm asking her a question. How dare she? No, I'm joking. I'm joking.
YouTube.
Okay. Oh, she's on YouTube. Okay, fine. Otherwise, I would take it very personally. She doesn't appreciate me enough to show up to my session, even though I'm doing all this stuff for her, answering her question. You see? So this is, you know, just one kind of level of things that can irritate us. But, you know, without having a conversation with her, or, you know, all of us individually, to know what our particular triggers are, you know, it's very hard to see. But, you know, with a little bit of discriminating wisdom, I hope you can take the example I gave and apply it to your own situations, your own triggers, and hopefully it'll help. Next question. Yeah, are you, Saraji, are you scratching your hair, or are you having a question?
Yeah, I have a question. I typed in the chat, actually.
Okay, oops. Ale.
Venerable, there's a question from Saket. He has posted it in the chat box.
Can we simply choose not to suffer as a shortcut? Well, yeah. You see, there's a couple things here, right? Sorry, Sarji. Yeah, you got cut in front of in line. So sorry, don't get irritated. Okay, practice patience. I'll get to your question afterwards. So you see, when we were talking about suffering in general, yeah, we're saying the root cause of suffering is our karma and afflictions, right? So as long as we're in samsara, we have one suffering type of situation after another, yeah? And that's just, you know, that's what Buddha meant by the truth of suffering and the truth of the cause of suffering, okay? So unless you have abandoned the grasping to true existence and you've gotten nirvana, you can't just say, okay, I just choose not to suffer anymore and get liberation that way. However, when we're in a situation, okay, now let's say even, we get sick, okay? We have a certain physical condition, but then how our mind reacts to it can then cause further mental suffering, right? And here is where we can exercise, what we mean by, choice to lessen the kind of mental suffering. Although, if we had a, I don't know, we had a toothache, and we can't just say, oh, I decide that my tooth won't hurt anymore. We can't do that. But the kind of incessant worrying and anxiety, the kind of mental suffering that we layer on top of the physical suffering, that we have, quite a deal of control about how, we use our minds to, exacerbate or ameliorate, sorry, two fancy words, make better or make worse, okay, our situation. Okay. So I guess, in summary, in those situations, yes, the way we think about our situation itself can, make our suffering more or less. And in those situations, of course, we should try to, not choose suffering. But that, although helpful, we still need to abandon the root cause of suffering, which is the grasping to true existence. Oops. Okay. Sarah G.
Thank you. Thank you.
So she says, oh, you're welcome, Saket. My beginner question is it okay to consider other Guruji? Like here in India, okay, there are a lot. I consider the Dalai Lama and other spiritual teachers here. Is that okay, or just stick to one? Yeah, okay. So in general, it depends on you. So Atisha was famously said to have had 153 gurus or teachers. And then, there's others who have a very few number of teachers, okay? Now, it says in the Lamrim, there was two Kadamba Geshes who were debating whether, which is better, to have more or fewer gurus. And in general, it is said that for us beginners, in general, it's better to have fewer gurus because the kind of risk for us to generate non-devotional thoughts in relation to a teacher is higher if we don't have pure view, right? Now, there is the differentiation we have to make between, someone just being like a spiritual friend, or, a kind of formalized teacher-disciple relationship, and the formalized one, right? So as His Holiness was emphasizing, before one enters into the formal relationship with a particular teacher, one has to, check, one has to analyze and see whether they have the qualities that are, relationship in a more formalized way. Then one just considers them like a, university lecturer or, spiritual friend. It's not formal. Yes, can you still hear me? Hello?
Yes, Venerable, we can hear you.
Oh, okay, the whole answer? Hello. Sarah G, is your question answered to your satisfaction?
Thank you. Just mentioned
Yeah, Shubhashini, go ahead.
Venerable, you use the word unbearable compassion.
Mm.
So I wanted to know how you would describe it, or I mean, what you would describe as unbearable compassion.
Mm. Right. So remember, I was giving the example of one's mother
Yeah.
having gotten bitten by the snake, right?
Mm.
So what is unbearable is the thought that each second that goes by, that the mother or sentient beings are suffering, right? That becomes very unbearable for you. Okay, so in general, with compassion, right, you want all sentient beings to be free from suffering. But the unbearable compassion is now considering the time element, that each second that goes by, with infinite sentient beings experiencing infinite suffering, the thought that sentient beings would have to suffer for 1 second more than they have to, that is unbearable.
You mean the mother, or you mean generally?
Either way. So the mother example is the analogy, right? Then we apply that to the general case of all sentient beings.
But that would again tantamount to Bodhicitta.
Well, yes. So these are types of bodhicitta, right? Or these are the different trainings that are distinguishing between the regular bodhicitta of the Paramitayana and the special bodhicitta that is needed for the Vajrayana.
So what you alluded to was Vajrayana, is it?
Well, yeah. So that's the if you look at the text, that's what it's talking about, right? Having trained my mind in the common path in this way, what is it? I would not be upset to even spend an ocean of eons, but with extraordinary unbearable compassion, please bless me to enter the quick path of the Vajrayana, and then guarding my vows and pleasures more than my life, right? So that stanza is about the special attitude that is needed for the Vajrayana practitioner.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much.
When do we see you in person?
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. Okay. I think that's it. Yes? Yes?
I think there are no further questions.
Hello?
Actually, we don't know anything.
Okay.
Because
I can't.
everything is a question mark
Shanti.
during this COVID times.
Yes, that's right. Okay, anyway, I can't hear Shanti, but maybe we stop the session here for this week. Okay? So I'm going to give you homework, and that is to, try to, actually, Rinpoche says that those 2 verses that we just finished on, if we don't have time to do the whole practice, those are the essence, right? So the main practice is to consider all sentient beings as more precious than a wish-fulfilling jewel. And then when we interact with sentient beings, try as much as we can to be a wish-fulfilling jewel for them, you know, and try to help them, benefit them in ways big and small, whatever we can do. Okay? So that is your homework. Okay? And yeah, I think it's also good, I'll just say that rather than having a sort of nebulous, I'll try to be nicer to sentient beings, you know, can we translate that into action? Right? So I think in one of our first sessions, we were talking about the practice of journaling, you know, as part of our daily routine. And so maybe it'd be good that we try to have as a goal that, you know, we do something a little bit unexpectedly kind to another sentient being, right? Be it another human or an animal. And then when we, before we go to bed, we kind of review our day and try to identify those things and kind of keep track of it over time. And then, you know, when we reflect, we can rejoice about the good things that we do. Okay? All right. So anyway, we're a little bit over time, so we can just do a very quick dedication. So we dedicate all our merit for the benefit of all sentient beings, and in particular for all sentient beings to generate this mind of bodhicitta in their minds. And those who have already generated bodhicitta may always increase. And we also dedicate for the long lives of the spiritual friends, particularly His Holiness Dalai Lama and Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and that all their wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. And we also dedicate for all the problems in this world, all the problems due to the illnesses, particularly coronavirus, all the problems due to natural disasters and climate change, all the civil unrest, instantly pacified, all the economic problems as well. And, you know, may all sentient beings then have all the conditions they need to practice Dharma and achieve enlightenment in this very lifetime. Okay, so thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you, Venerable.
Thank you. Thank you, Venerable.
Okay, thank you. Stay well, everyone.